Hello. So, this is a story I keep forgetting to talk about. So, I'm finally going to talk about it. Reminded myself to make this. So, this is a tale. I lived in Syracuse, New York for 2 years, 2.5 years, 2009 to 2011. And while I lived there, I had seen a few mediums. I was interested in this. I didn't know if I had any abilities or not. I remember one medium specifically telling me in Syracuse that I had a large group of people. She said, "Wow, you have a lot of people around you." So I'm assuming guides, angels, and all that, but it could have been people waiting to be moved up to the light. I don't know. But anyway, I had a large group of people. And that's what the first time I actually heard, who around you drowned? I don't know. So I'm like, later I was asking friends, relatives, like, who drowned in the family? No one. Um, and eventually that led to my recurring dream or I matched with my recurring dream of drowning right offshore off a beach, which I address in another video. See if I can put the link here. Anyway, recurring dream that I finally put a stop to after 10 years. Anyway, while I was in Syracuse, they also had this ghost conference, ghost event, paranormal event in the theater downtown Syracuse. So I signed up. Chip Coffey was the headliner. So he was, I wanted to see him. I knew of him already. So I got tickets. So a friend of mine came up from Connecticut and we go to this thing. So I think it was 2 nights over a weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And so the first night is at the theater, and we go in and meet Chip Coffey, an autograph photo, which of course I can't find right now. But I got to meet Chip, which was very cool at the time. Still is very cool. And they had some mediums, they had some other demonstrations, other talks, and stuff like that. And then they had a ghost hunt the next night at Fort Ontario up in Oswego, New York, which is right on the corner of Lake Ontario, about 30 miles north of Syracuse. So we signed up for that as well. But the first night, I signed up with some time with a medium. And I think my friend did too. And the most profound thing I remember her saying at the time was, I see you moving west. Moving west is like Utah. You're going to move to Utah. I see you in Utah, moving to Utah in the next couple of years, which was interesting because I was in the process of talking to a friend of mine who's a professor at University of Utah at the time, and he was trying to convince me to go back on a training grant for my PhD at Utah. So they even had a weekend event out there. They flew prospective students out to tour the campus, see the programs, and try to, win you over. So I went out to that, but a PhD would have been another 7 years, and I didn't have the patience for that. So I ended up turning it down. But I hadn't told anyone at the time I was even debating going to Utah, and she said it right there in the reading. So I knew she was legit. So it was a very interesting reading. I can't remember anything else she said though. But that's really what stuck out to me. So anyway, next night we all carpool up to Oswego, Fort Ontario. We meet, and it's a big walled stone fort, colonial era fort, right on the corner of the lake there. And so inside is the general's house, the command center, the barracks, a few other buildings. So we meet at the uh, general's house, the official's house. And Chip Coffey is there. And there's about 30 of us. So there was a good number of people who went on this ghost hunt. So, that's a lot for a ghost hunt. I typically only get things if I'm by myself. So 30 people, I wasn't expecting much. But they divided us into three groups and gave us, EVPs and tape recorders, and people had their own stuff too. So Chip took us through initially what the reported sightings and hauntings were. So apparently there was a baby. People would hear a baby crying upstairs in what was the nursery. They would hear a woman sobbing upstairs. And I think there was a man who you could hear the footsteps, boom, 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 occasionally. So we learn all this, and then we split up. And of course, this is 6, 7 p.m., so it's dark outside already. So our group goes upstairs, and we're asking questions. I remember I asked a few questions. Okay, are you here? Do you need help? What would you like known? Da, 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 da. And then we were, running the recorder during this. And so at one point we played it back and we heard a baby crying, just like, we could hear a baby crying on the tape near the nursery when we were at the nursery. And like, oh, that was interesting to capture. This first time I'd ever heard an EVP. So I was kind of thrown back by that. Um, Later on, we all met back downstairs again, and someone said they heard a woman crying while they were walking around up there. And we played back people's tape recorders, and we did capture a woman crying on someone's tape recorder. We had the baby crying. Someone else got the baby crying. No one heard any footsteps, but that was extremely interesting at the time. It was just like, boom, wow. So we gathered, then we kind of split up and went all around the inside of the fort. And so a friend and I, we went over to the barracks, the soldiers' barracks, and it's a two-story building. We go up to the upstairs where the bunks are, and there's probably about a 10 to 12 people milling around, talking, chatting. So it's not a very um, peaceful environment to try to meditate, concentrate, and try to connect with spirits. So we sit down on one of the bunk beds and um, trying to get away from some of the noise anyway. So I say to myself, okay, if someone's here, please let me know if you're here or not. We'd like to talk to you. And as soon as I said that, I get this what felt like an ice cold hand on the back of my head. I'm like, okay, there's an ice cold hand on the back of my head. What? Yeah. Say, okay, I know you're here. And after a few seconds, it started to sink into my head, like through my skull down towards my brain. It's ice cold going into my head. And I freaked the heck out at this point. I'm like, okay, that's it. Stop. I'm done. Don't talk to me. Don't follow me. I get up and I stand up and it's like, all right, don't touch me. And like, what? So I tell her what happened. It's like, that's freaky. So we got out of the barracks. I've never had that happen before. I've had cold sensations, cold touches, spirit standing next to me. I can feel the cold next to me. And this was a next level, like going into my body. No, sorry, that's off limits territory. So we got out of there, and of course, we relayed the stories at the end before we all wrapped up for the night. I think it was like 11 o'clock or midnight by the time we finished up there at the fort. But that was the first time I've ever been touched inside my body, so ice cold. So that again freaked me out a little bit. But um, yeah, interesting story. I wish I had some photos to put up for this. If I can find some, I will. But anyway, that's another tale. So I did do some ghost hunting with Chip Coffey. So again, very helpful, very nice. Worked with everybody, talked with him quite a bit. He very, very honest, real, friendly person, especially as a medium. So, anyway, that's my experience with Chip Coffey, and that's my experience in Syracuse. So, hope you enjoyed it. Check out my channel for other real, personal ghost stories. And any comments, or if you maybe were on that ghost hunt in Syracuse, put a comment below. So, thanks for listening.